No. Must have background music.
Okay, let's restore my previous playlist.
Let's talk to myself.
And let's say we repeat all. Let's play. Hey, there we go. Okay. So I'm just going to give a nice cold open here. No.
All
Hey
right.
everybody, welcome to our today's stream from the Endless Foundation. We are going to be looking at modding a game in Godot. So I know we focused in previous weeks more on some of the Git stuff, and this week we want to just focus on actually getting in a game. We've selected a game for our upcoming learning programs, and we want to just poke at it a little bit. So I'm going to pull up the agenda real quick. But yeah, our basic agenda is going to be cloning that game and making a test branch to kind of play around a little bit. Then we'll actually look at how to make a new level in the game. And then we might poke at some fancier changes, some more interesting stuff we can change. So I'm joined here again by, if I can find the right scene.
Get to.
I'm joined here by Justin. I'm Cassidy, and we're gonna get started. But this week I'm gonna throw Justin for a loop, and rather than me running it for at least the beginning here, I want to make Justin do it. So can you share your screen, and we'll get started with it.
It's good. It's go time. Okay, well, I need the first thing for our step one. Let me share my screen, and then get the actual call out of there so that we don't all do that. Okay.
There we go.
Can you see my screen?
We can see it.
Yeah?
Yep.
Awesome. Okay, I'm just making sure. So the first thing is, am I in the right place? Because for step one, what I want to do to make I deleted the entire game while you were doing the intro so that I would do this right from the beginning with the game that we're going to work with. This is the most recent. This is the place I want to be for Everlasting Candy.
Yep. Yeah.
Our
so
Candy
that's
Wrapper.
Our Candy Wrapper game. Yep. We've so Candy Wrapper. I think we poked at it very briefly in a previous week, but we have decided to go ahead and forked the game, which means we're going to. Wow, I'm getting a lot of lag writing this on this machine. Interesting. We're gonna go ahead and basically take that openly licensed game and use it as a new base for other people to build off of. So that's what we're doing here.
Okay, so if at any point you put me on the spot, so for a disclaimer, I am very novice with Git and even with with some of the stuff with Godot. So if at any point with Git, especially, you catch me, call me out and I will make corrections.
Sounds good.
This will be good. So the first thing I want to do is clone this thing. We've safely forked it away from the developer, and this is our version to play with. And but I need to get it on my machine. It's just sitting online. So I'm going to go to the code button. I'm going to copy this URL, clone using this URL.
Mm-hmm.
Then I'm just going to downsize, say goodbye to the browser. And I think I'd like to make a new folder. Godot tends to not love when you try to import a project from a folder where there's like a lot of other stuff in it. So I've noticed that. It's sort of like, do this at your own risk, but we might bring in all these other files too. So
yeah, you definitely want to have your own clean folder to start with.
So I've got Everlasting Candy, and I'm going to right click this folder, and I'm going to go to show more options. There. Can you see that?
Yeah.
So now the command we've gone over, but I'm going to do it again now using the real game, is git clone. And then I just have to paste that URL I had copied, which in Git Bash, I can't use Control V. I have to right click, a little goofy, and hit paste. And there it is.
Yeah.
So I did the thing where I didn't want to navigate to the folder, Cassidy, in here, so I just right-clicked the folder where I hope this will go, and I'm
Mhm.
cloning it directly there.
Yeah, that seems right.
And then you've told me this before, but this is the thing where I'll go, okay, let's just make sure that worked, and it's going to say
Like, you're not
that's
in a Git
not a
repo.
repo
Yeah.
because I've inceptioned the.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if I close this and I go into here, it made an extra folder in here. And how is it that I'm supposed to avoid that?
So that's where if you just opened Git Bash like on your desktop and did the Git clone, it would just put that folder on your desktop. So you could do it that way. It depends on exactly how you want to organize things. If you're
Oh,
gonna have other files
so
alongside it.
well, for this purposes, I want to do that. I want to get that
Okay.
right.
Yeah. 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 I was like, well,
So I'm going to
I
go
think he knows what
here,
he's doing. But yeah, this makes sense.
here. Why isn't it giving me the Git bash?
Because it's Windows, you have to say show more option. Oh wait, no, why is it not showing that? Weird. That's annoying. So I
I
usually just
try
do
to
it in
get it
like my
right, but
documents folder, but that's weird that it doesn't want to show Git bash there.
it's going to make me do this. Okay. So I want to figure that out.
Yeah, I guess the desktop shows different menu items than the like when you're inside a folder, which is kind of weird.
My everlasting candy folder. Take 2. Go to Git bash. Command line in the app. Git clone. Paste in the link again.
There you go.
Cool. And then I will just do this extra thing.
Then you have to CD into there, or yeah, go there and right click and open Git bash there. Yep,
Where I still do
works.
it visual, where I go,
It works.
now I open it in this inside folder, and now you can see it says main here. And if I type git status, I actually have a repo in there. Nothing to commit, working tree clean. Cool. I'm going to leave this up because one of the things okay, you tell me if I'm wrong, but one of the things I want to do first is like I really just don't want to be on the main whenever I know I'm just going to be playing around.
Yeah,
So
I
I
think that's
almost
good
want to make
practice.
a separate branch right now. Okay, good. All right.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go git switch. I'm going to do the -C stands for create, and I'm going to make like our feature branch, which is just like a messy branch. So local, no, just say testing. Cool. And that made it a copy right off the main. So it's, still up to date with the main. It's just now I'm on a separate version and it says testing right here. So awesome. So then I'm going to open Godot. Projects here. Import everlasting candy. And all I need is this Godot project file. And that should open the game up. Valid path. Awesome. I think I have done step 1 successfully. Clone the game. And I've tied it to this. I've imported those cloned files into Godot.
There you go. Okay. So we
Any
have a game.
suggestions? Anything?
Well, we wanted to start with. Let me look back at our agenda. So we cloned the game. No, I mean, the desktop thing was a little weird. That it was like it wasn't showing you the Git bash there because yeah, usually you don't need to nest the folders that way. Oh, I just realized when I don't have you here, people can't hear you because of the way I did this. Hold on. You were everyone could hear you a minute ago, but just as soon as I switched the scene, you couldn't be heard. Hold on. We're gonna switch back to that. Sorry, I had a slightly different setup this time. Okay. Let's mute that. Okay, there we go. Yeah, I would say that desktop thing was a little bit weird, where it like wouldn't show the Git bash there, so you had the nested folders. I think that if somebody's doing it in their documents folder, that goes away because they're just managing it in like the Explorer, the Windows
Gotcha.
Explorer.
Just something to be mindful of then, I guess, that you
Yeah.
might go to open what you thought you just cloned the game. It said you did. You open that you're in that same folder and it says there's
Yeah.
no Git
You
repo
have to make
here.
sure you go
You
into
might
that
have put,
folder.
yeah.
Yep. Yeah, exactly.
So I'm glad that happened actually, in a way.
And I missed because I was trying to fix something on my stream. What did we name the branch?
So I named the branch. I don't know if you'll like that. I named the branch just testing. Is
That's fine.
that
That's
like
fine. If
okay?
you're yeah,
Yeah.
if your intent is, you're not pushing this anywhere, or even if you were, like, that's actually a pretty clear name. That's like, hey, this is not meant to be actually merged in. This is testing. So I think that's good. Yeah.
Yeah. So I have an idea. If we make a level,
Hmm.
in my brain, I said to myself, well, if Cassie doesn't love this, because like if we were to push this off to the team project and, even if it was staying in its own like side branch,
Hmm.
testing isn't a great name. I could just make a copy of testing and rename it something real. If something came of what we were doing, right?
Yeah. Yeah. You can. You could create a new branch based off of testing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yep.
Branches are cheap.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. So I leave that up just to if we get to the point where I need to start adding some of the
Sure.
stuff we're doing. I'm just gonna leave that running. Okay. So let's add a level. We've looked at this project before, I believe, but I'm gonna run it again. And can you tell me if I have the audio shared? I might not.
Good question.
Can you hear it now?
I do not hear.
Okay. Give me one sec.
That. Yeah. If you reshare that.
Let me turn on the audio. Okay. How about now?
Oh yes, it's very loud. Let me turn that down.
All right. I'm gonna just play this for a second, just to remind you. Okay. Spacebar to start.
It's so loud. Hold on, I have to turn this down. It's it's blowing me away here. I turned it down for the stream at least. That's okay. I gotta figure that out. Wow, we didn't test that part. No, that makes sense. I should be able to do it in. Oh goodness, where is it? Somewhere in my control room thing. I should be able to turn that down because if I turned it down, it was turning your volume down too because it was like the whole share. Yeah, yeah. Okay, interesting.
Okay, while you're doing that,
Yeah.
to make a new level, I was going to talk about a couple things here. One is that oftentimes I've looked at projects in Godot as relatively, sort of novice because by no means like a professional game designer or developer. But I noticed that a lot of times things are very neat and tidily organized, but that also can make
Hmm.
it feel like some of the parts of the game are like not obviously presented to you when you open the project.
Yeah, yeah, and it's like
Like right now, I'm just looking at a color.
you're coming into somebody else's project, right? Like this is their space that they've worked, and you're new here, and it's like they've set everything up the way they want. It'd be like walking into like a professional cook's kitchen or something. It's like I don't know where everything is. I don't know what drawer everything's in. I don't know, and I don't want to leave a knife in the wrong place. Like, so yeah, it's kind of the same thing. Of like you're coming into something that has all been set up for whatever reason, and whoever set it up is very familiar with it. So you have to familiarize yourself as well.
So I'm looking around here, and apologies if I'm not looking right. I get you off camera
That's
just a
fine.
second, but
That's
I'm
fine.
looking around here, and I can see a HUD, otherwise known as the heads-up display for the player, but it doesn't really change much here. I can see
Mm-hmm.
they've got a camera node. They've got all these building blocks here, but this can't be the whole game. In fact, I just played 3 levels while I was sort of blowing out your ears there with the sound,
Yeah.
and I don't see levels here. So that's like I'm poking around and I can see, oh, like this little scroll is code for the game. Don't don't want to dive into that yet. Go back, I click back up here on the 2D tab. I'm like, where are the other nodes? Where's the rest of the game? So one little trick for that I figured out for myself is there are basically two very key building blocks in all games in Godot, language used in the Godot engine. The smallest building block is these things. We can see some of them here, and they're called nodes.
Mm-hmm.
And those are like the smallest, like sort of Lego building blocks for the game, and they're all coming together here to do something for the game. But you can combine them for a slightly bigger building block called a scene. And a scene
Mm-hmm.
can be, you know, you could make anything a scene. You could make your player character, the picture that is your character, the hitbox that is your character, the camera that follows. That could all be a part of a scene that gets saved as like a player character scene, and it allows you to keep reusing it like a template. And so my guess was, knowing that, I was like, well, this developer probably had made their levels into scenes. Like
Mm-hmm.
each level maybe was a scene. That's what I was hoping, but I don't see that here. But if I go to the bottom left where it says the file system, not a very exciting, just the file cabinet. But the scene ending is .tscn. Learned that. And so that filters all of this and just shows me those, like I said, that slightly bigger building block. I
Mm-hmm.
can see that he made a whole scene for explosions.
Yeah.
If I double click that, oh yeah, see, here are all the building blocks for his explosion. He's got a sound effect, he's got an animation going, and he's got an image of an explosion over here. He's got the sprite images.
Mm-hmm.
So, and here we go, Cassidy. Tile map. These have got to be the levels.
Mm-hmm. That looks like it. Yeah,
Sweet.
because there's like 20 levels or whatever. Yep.
So if I double click that, I'm on. This is level 4. I'm guessing.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't get that far because the music was hurting you. So I got to level 3. But if I get this is level 4. He's like outlined it with this color or this, picture, and then he's got his, this gameplay here is his space created. I just said that scenes are often made up of a bunch of nodes, but this one is made up of a single node. That can be done too. They can be very simple scenes, or they can be super long and complex and filled with tons of nodes. But this one is just a tile map. But the tile map's pretty powerful. We messed with this before, where you can load in images of different things, and Godot can carve them up into individual tiles. Here, let me zoom in. This is a little bit review. I know you did this before when we were messing around, but we were playing with Git, so. Yeah, he's got these, 9 tiles here as his base tiles for this this level. But then this is kind of oh, and that's my puppy. Hold on.
The joys of live streaming. That's fine.
I'll see if I can get him to chill out. Yoshi. His name is Yoshi. I'll be
Hi,
right
Yoshi.
back. Hold on.
No worries. I'll hang out here. Well, while Justin runs and does that, I'm going to see if I can get caught up on my screen as well. So let me just throw my webcam up here. And I have just cloned the project. Let's see. I'm trying to think of the easiest way to share this. I'll just share my screen. Oh, and Justin's already back. So I will do that in the background. No worries. I was just like, oh, I guess this is a good time. I can catch up and clone and share my screen, and then that's as far as I got. So. All right.
Let me share again. Yoshi's okay.
That's good.
All right, system audio. Yep, my daughter got off the bus, so
yes,
she had to say
that'll
hi.
do it.
Okay, so we have what I was saying was they have these tiles here, but there's several images loaded in. I think this is kind of cool. There's a player character as well. It's just a picture of the player character, but I think what we discovered is the developer did is, if I place this somewhere, when this level is loaded, when you're actually playing, the game and the script related to the overall game will know to place the actual player wherever you put this picture.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what we've discovered. So to make a new level, we can draw it out using these tiles, and then we can decide where we want the bad guys to be and where we want the player to be. Sound good?
Sounds good.
All right, cool. So I am going to... Okay, all the levels seem to be organized in this one folder called tile map. So I'm guessing if I don't place it in there, it might not load the game. I'm going to place the new level in there. All right, so up here in the top, I'm going to click plus because that's going to give me a new tab, an empty space here to make a new scene.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of copying one and changing it, this time I'd like to just make a totally new one. Sound good?
Sounds good.
Awesome.
I'm
Okay, so
gonna move you over to the right. That way, you don't keep getting in the way here of this. Hold on.
okay, I didn't get rid of this because I want to kind of mimic the formatting of what had been done in the existing levels. So it's just a tile map. So if I go back to my empty, it's asking me, what do you want the initial like root node to be? So for this one, I'm just going to copy. I'm going to say it's not just a 2D scene, 3D scene, or a user interface node. It's other, and I'm going to search for tile map. So when you hit this button right here on the top left, or this plus button, Godot brings up like a search, and you can just look through all their amazing, cool, different nodes and see what they do. You can get a description down here of what it does, in addition to just like anything related to that node or that uses the same kind of features. So I'm going to pick tile map.
It can be a little overwhelming too because there's all the 3D stuff in there, and we're not messing with the 3D at all.
Yeah,
but that's why search is definitely your friend.
Yeah, like if I hadn't put anything, good point. If I hadn't put anything, look, it's like whoa, and this isn't even half of it.
Yeah, nested. It's kind of crazy. I guess because you're in it.
Stuff in there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I also, Cassidy, might have gone through my settings and said, stop showing me 3D
I think you maybe did.
I
was going to say, you're hiding that. That's actually nice. Yeah, there is a setting in your editor preferences or something where you can say, like, just get rid of the 3D stuff if you know you're not going to be using 3D, which is nice. But yeah, it can be a little overwhelming, but if you use the search, it's pretty handy.
Yeah, search is your friend. And this tile map that is being used here is a little bit dated. So there's going to be an angry little exclamation point here. It's okay. It still works. And the thing that has actually replaced it, which I don't think will work if I do it right now for our level, is the tile map layer. But they work. It's a nice organization. It's a nice update. It's not going to be overwhelmingly different feeling. So, okay, so I have a tile map, but I don't have anything cool down here that if I go back to the existing scene, there's all these pictures loaded in, and they're all carved up as a tile. As tiles. So looking at this, over here in the inspector with the tile map clicked, there's something loaded in here called a tile set. And that is, it's been saved as a file in the entire game. And it's saved in a way, it's called a resource file, and it's saved in a way where I can use it too for new levels. So that's cool. So if I go back here, and you see now it says empty. There's no tile set. You need the tile set in order to go ahead and make your map. So where it says empty, I could click here and say new, but actually what I'm going to do is use this quick load feature. And that's kind of nice. What Godot does is like recognizes, well, what kind of node are you on? Oh, you're on a tile map? Well, let me show you if there's anything in the file system that would be useful for a tile map, I'll show it to you here. Otherwise, I won't bring it up and make you sift through it.
Yeah.
So, and look, there's one
thing.
Okay, there's just the one resource. So I think I know what to pick.
Yeah. You could also drag from that file system tab, right? You could drag from there. Maybe just
what was it called? Well,
it was under tile map.
The file extension is TRES. There's a few file extensions for resource. Yeah, there it is.
So you could just drag that straight to where it says empty. It's good to know. I actually forgot you could do that quick thing. But either way, it works.
That's cool.
So your drag and drop is really nice. But yeah, either way,
and there we go.
Cool.
All right, okay, so I have a couple thoughts about this because there's like this laid out size to each level that I think for now we should probably stay within, but I'm curious what happens when I go beyond. But
if you made it bigger,
I don't know yet.
Yeah, I have no idea.
So anyway, so the tile map, using the tile map's interesting. I've got the little pencil or paintbrush selected here. These are very small buttons, so apologies if that's hard to see. Can you see it, Cassidy?
Yeah, I think we can see it fine. It's going to depend on people's screen resolution. There's also a setting in the Godot editor to like change the scale of things, which I found to be nice. But
oh my gosh! Hold on. I'm just going to show it because there is. I'll show two that I changed anyway. I'll do it quick.
Yeah.
In up here in the top left, because I've not met too many people that just leave it as small as it is.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so under editor, if you go to editor settings, the two that I changed is main font size
Mm-hmm.
and then also display
Display scale.
scale,
Yeah. Yeah.
which
Yep.
is that what you're talking about?
Yeah. Yeah. Of like, depending on your how big your screen is, the resolution and stuff, you might want to tweak it in either direction, right? Like if you're on a really cramped screen and you have really good eyesight and you want everything to be smaller, you can make it smaller. Or if you're on a big screen or whatever and you want it to be bigger, yeah.
Yeah. Good
Yeah.
call. Thanks for
It
pointing
is
that out
nice.
because I definitely did that. Yeah.
Yeah.
You can also rearrange everything, kind of like a video editor or any tool that has like different
Yeah. The
panels like
tabs are drag
Godot
and drop.
does.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I haven't moved them. I haven't minded this, but I've seen a lot of people with more experience than me just have strong opinions about that, and they move them over time, I guess.
Right. Yeah.
Um, so anyway, I'm gonna grab a single tile and get myself a starting platform. What do I want to be here? And because we were talking about it, and I noticed it in the previous playthrough, you can wrap, right? Your character can go off screen and come
Mm-hmm.
like an old school game, come back on the other side of the screen. I kind of want to use that. So this goober is the bad guy, I believe. So I'm going to click on that. There's just one option. He's going to be waiting for you.
And remind me, what is the win condition of a level? Is it get all the goobers,
Oh,
or is there a
I think
specific?
you have to get. I think you have to get them all because there's
Okay.
no traversal. There's traversal, but only to get the
Yeah.
bad guys.
There's no like target like you have to get to this flag or something. It's just like all the goobers are gotten, then you're good.
Yeah, so I'm going to give you one face like right off the bat. That's like, oh, that might feel if this goober's moving right when you start, it might not feel very fair. But let's see. We can see. And then this isn't a jump you can make. I wanted to make sure it was a jump you can't make. Hold on, let me get the eraser. Get rid of that. I don't think we can make that jump with the guy. And we can test. And tile map. Hmm. Oh, that's right. You don't die from falling. So
Yeah, you would just fall infinitely there if you just dropped straight down.
and then oh, I wanted to create a wall here actually, but I want to do it like with a steady hand. So I'm going to use this line tool. See, if I don't let
Oh,
go of my
nice.
left click,
That's
I can
awesome.
just make the wall. And now it's obvious you need to go this way.
So you're forced to be like, okay, you have to go backwards.
Yeah, and then also I might to easier create a platform quicker. I can drag and click across several tiles.
Nice.
So let's see. Hmm. Oh, I had another thought. Okay, here's what I'm gonna do. Tell me if you think this is too hard.
Okay.
So I make a wall, right? But I kind of want to hollow out part of the wall and put a goober there and make you because I know the mechanic when you free fall, but you have to get in there
Yeah. Well,
to get him.
remember
Whoops.
too that you can just go left in this level, right?
Well, yeah, but yeah, I changed my mind on this. So this
Okay.
is gone. So now, so now, I need to play this actually. I don't really understand how this will play out. Hold on.
Yeah.
Let me put a guy here and hit play. Wait. First of all, let's set up when we hit this level because if I okay, so I've got a level. It's unsaved and unnamed. I forgot. Um, and if I just run the scene, I don't think anything cool will happen because I think these are just placeholders for these characters.
Mm.
So first I have to save it, and then if I
Yeah.
run
What?
it, I think it has to be tied to the main game. So
Okay. Yeah, I wasn't sure how that worked.
yeah, so in here, I don't want to wait. I don't want to name it like scene 22 and then play through 20 scenes just to try it. So I'm gonna take scene one, and I'm gonna rename scene 1 22 and push it to the end.
There you go. Yeah. That way you just have
And
to.
I'm
Otherwise, we'd be here, yeah, all day. I don't know that I've
so
actually ever beaten all the levels.
I don't think I have.
I just realized
So there.
I had your volume down. I'm trying to figure this if I can change the screen share volume separately, but I don't think I can. I think it just all comes through as one thing. So when you're playing
And
the
the other
game,
thing I
you're
think.
gonna be much quieter.
Okay, sorry. Yeah,
That's okay.
That's all right. And the other thing I think I just made a mistake with is I saved the scene, but I didn't put it in that folder, and I don't think it. I think I have to hold the click, scroll up to where I want the scene to be in the list of levels, and I think here the script for the game will grab it. We'll find out. I'll try it right now. Can I play the game? Heads up on the music.
Incredible. There you go.
That goober was actually kind of tricky. I could be even meaner. I could. How do I get back my? Let me click off. Oh, there we go. I'm back.
Okay.
I could tile map. Oh, tile set and tile map. This threw me off a lot, Cassidy, at first. Tile, when you make a map using like a picture and you carve it up and you turn it into tiles, the set is like the list of tiles you have, but you can't paint from here. This is like the resource almost. You have to click on tile map, which feels very
Yeah.
similar, but now you get the tools to actually paint with it or erase.
Yeah, because tile set,
So,
you're saying you're like setting up the tile map. I think. Yeah,
yes.
I get tripped up in the same way. It's interesting.
I think if I brought this roof down on his head even more, it would be almost impossible to get him from a
Yeah.
free fall. So I'm gonna leave that alone. Okay. So, oh, by the way, I'm just gonna run this and then close it real quick
Okay.
because that is one way to autosave the game. I think if I hover over this, oh, I can also press F5 or
For
I can
save,
go
you can
over
just
here and
do
just hit.
Control S. Yeah.
Oh yeah, Control S.
We'll just save as well. Yeah.
Yep. But anytime I run the game, we save it too by default. So that's good. So we've got a new level, and we've made it the first level, which is not the easiest first level, I will
Right.
admit. But I
Yeah.
wanted to test it.
No, I
This
like.
is why we're
That
just.
was a good way to. That's a good way to test it. Is like, yeah, just rename the other one, just get it out of the way. But that's something I hope maybe we can improve in the base game itself. Like as things
Yeah.
progress, it's like make it easier to actually load in a specific level or something. But that worked.
So if I go back to this game node real quick,
Mhm.
and there's these little icons here that tell you that there's code related to this node. It's attached to it.
Yeah.
And when I click on it, this is overwhelming for someone like me who's not by any means a considered a professional programmer at all. And
Sure.
I look at this and I can understand that there's some files being loaded. Those scenes I talked about, like load the player, load the bad guy.
Yeah.
But a lot of this is a little bit mysterious to me. But I sometimes have fun poking around to see if, like, when I realized I was just painting the characters on the screen, I was like, well, how does the code of the main game here, how does it actually load them? So this can be fun when you're just looking for something specific like that to sort of explore and try to figure out how it was done. That's all.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah. It definitely is like you said, kind of that analogy before of like the coming into somebody else's space. It's like, oh my goodness, they have all this code here. I don't know what any of it does, but it is really cool that you can poke around. Like you can learn a lot
Yeah.
just from reading through, searching through stuff that already exists, even if you're not intending to actually change it. You
And
kind of start to get a sense of how it's built.
and the developers commented the code. So
Yeah.
what's nice about this is you see all this like lit up different color lines of code, but every now and then you can see some gray. This is just meant for the humans. If you
Yeah.
put a this little hashtag symbol here in Godot, you can write something that the computer and the engine will not try to read. It's just for me, and it says this is the title screen is the first level, and the game complete screen is the last level. So it's
Mhm.
just like little instructions for different parts. This developers also named the little operations or functions very clearly. This loads the map. This starts the map. It's kind of nice. Anyway,
Yeah.
little preview. Okay, so we have a new level. We've done it. Oh, should we go back? Yeah, but now I gotta. Okay. So just to go back to Git Bash here, I'd like to save, like, because everything I just did is saved in like a working folder on my computer, but it's not saved in my Git repository.
Yeah. You
So if
haven't
I
pushed it
ever
anywhere.
did something really cool at that level and I wanted to show you or a teammate, I've got to do a little bit more here. So tell me if this is bad practice or what you might do different. I would have. So the changes I've made in my mind, I just want to add all the changes I've made. There's nothing specific I wanted to leave out. So I would have done git space add space dot.
Yeah,
Your
just
thoughts?
add everything. I'd say first, I always like to do a git status. So it's just kind of like you're asking Git what it knows about, what has changed. Because that'll help you if if you accidentally changed something you shouldn't have, it'll show there. This could be if you scroll down, is it complaining about the like window line endings thing, or is it no. Interesting that it changed a bunch of the import files. That's okay. I
actively changed.
Yeah.
Well, I did more than that.
You added that file. It's interesting. I don't know why it changed all the import files. That's one of those things that's like a little annoying sometimes with Git, or with Git and Godot specifically, is like, okay, if you open up it, maybe it's a slightly different version of Godot. Like maybe it's a point version newer or something. It'll re-import those, and then it actually like updates those files. What you can do, if you're curious to see what has changed on one of those files, you can use what's called git diff. And so sometimes if you're like, what changed even? So you can type git space diff, and then you can even give it either. Okay, yeah. So there's that CRLF. That's that like weird line endings thing that we can ignore. It happened to us last time too.
Okay.
It's Git is saying, hey, this file changed because you opened it on like a Windows computer, and basically that's the only change. So that's what you can just ignore those. So even if you say git add dot, it'll correct it.
Okay, but this is one of those moments where I can see that the cursor has done this thing where it's presented me with a bunch of information, but I can't type, I don't think. Yeah.
Right.
It just
keeps go
like
up and
I'm
down.
trying to type.
Yeah.
So this is where I type Q to quit out of this?
Yeah.
Okay, Q. There we go. I'm back.
Yeah, it's confusing.
Okay. Git add space dot.
And now if you do a git status, it should show you the actual, like, here's the actual changes. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yep.
So
again, git status. I always, basically, if I'm just like, wait, what am I doing? I just type git status. It's like, wait, where were we? What have I changed? What have I done?
Yeah, and now it makes more sense, because like without that weird hiccup of the files being shifted or changed at the start, because it's like new, this looks more reasonable. Like I can actually read this and see, yes, I modified. I had clicked on the explosion scene. I didn't realize I changed anything. I thought I was just looking at it, but maybe I modified something. And then the two new I moved one level and I made a new one. And I did use this resource. So it's telling me I modified it. I'm not sure how. But
yeah, it depends. If you open it up and clicked something in there, it may be like, well, that's the thing that was selected now, even if it didn't actually effectively change it. So it's, again, it's one of those things where it's like, it's a little hard to know sometimes of what changes you actually need to include. It becomes a little more obvious when you are familiar with like reading the code itself, of like, okay, well that tscn file is just a text file, right? And that Godot wrote too.
Got it.
You could spend time like looking at it and seeing, okay, what actually changed? Do I need to actually add it? But I think in this case, since we're just in a testing branch, it's fine just to add it.
Testing branch and small change. Okay, so I added it, but saving in Git is a two-step process. So I added it, and now I have to do git commit, which is, in my mind, I translate it to save. Git commit M for message, and now I need quotes for a message I'm going to write about this save, and I am going to say.
Now we're going to describe what we did.
Added a new level. To the game. Moved. Placed it as level 1. and moved the existing. Is this too much? Level 1 to be level 22.
Yeah, so
What do you think?
I think what I forget what the exact character limit is. It will basically it'll just truncate it at however many characters and then show the rest as like a little expanded thing. This is where you
All right,
could
let's
also
find out.
do if you do git commit without
Okay.
the -m, it'll let
Yeah.
you set like a title and a body. Um, but
Oh.
then you might get stuck in Vim,
Oh
depending on
no,
what
please not for now.
yeah, it depends on how you have it set up. So you can just do it
Don't
this
do
way.
this to me.
But yeah, I'd say
Yeah.
generally you can set a title and a body, and it'll be like the title is like the really just high level description, and then the body is the uh, more details of like, okay, we moved this, we put it here.
Okay, and in classic impatient me, while listening, I hit enter because my brain just moved. Okay,
It's all good.
sorry.
It's all good.
So this, so this is now. It looks successful. It says
Yeah.
that it's given me like a commit reference number here,
Mm-hmm.
which is part of this branch. So that's cool. So that's how I can look back at like the version history later and find out. Now, had I named that like not accurately or not typed much, but like wrote like doing stuff,
Mm-hmm.
adding the things, like then you go back through and it's it's that same thing where you look in your like Google Drive and everything's an untitled
There it is.
document
Yeah.
that you've worked on
Final
recently.
version 2 or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
So if
It's just
you
poorly worded.
you can
Yeah.
demonstrate that too by typing git log, so that'll show the log of the commits. And I think that's always helpful to see like, okay, what
There's
do we have
Manuel.
here? Yeah, exactly. So you can see since you pulled it after Manuel did that stuff, like there's me, I did some stuff and then Manuel merged it, and then you have your changes that are built on top of that.
Right. And these
Yep.
are here because this branch was pulled off of like I made a copy of the main which
Yeah.
had these in there, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. You retain
Oh, you can
anytime you
see.
make a new branch, you're branching off of the existing history, all of the stuff that came before you.
Okay, so and it started with down here was like the furthest back in time, and then as I scrolled up, I got to my change today.
Yeah. Yep. And this is again where you can just I think hit Q to quit out of here.
Oh God, yep. I notice it with this
This little
colon.
colon.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Yep. It's a little
Cool.
confusing. I think eventually if you hit the
All
end,
right.
it might quit out of it automatically. I don't remember, but yeah, it's a long list there.
Now, should we send that as a separate branch to the GitHub repo or leave it here local?
I think let's leave it local for now because we don't really need to push this out there. We don't want to
Okay.
like confuse people, but I think it's probably fine local.
So staying on the testing branch, let's do more. Let's do a little bit more. What was our next? Weren't we going to get fancier?
Yeah, let me see the agenda. So we said clone a game, make a test branch, make a new level, and then fancier changes. So I think we talked about either sound or something like that.
Yeah. Okay. So, well, as simple as that first thing was, by the way, I mean, already what we've done is we created our own custom scene file.
Yeah.
And we built it using, I said that scenes could be a collection of nodes. This happens to be a very simple one because the tile map is really cool and lets you pick the player and the goober guy. And yeah, but still, we made our own scene, we saved it, and we incorporated it into the game. So that's pretty cool. And we didn't write the script. We just took advantage of the nice script that was already written for us to add this, to mod this level. But yeah. Oh, what I wanted to show you one thing. I was going to change the background.
Okay.
So if I made a new scene, do this again.
Let me. Oops.
But I'm not going to start with the tile map. I'm actually just going to pick this generic 2D scene, which will give me a node 2D. And that's going to act as the overall parent node. It's not going to do anything other than it's going to let me hopefully put a different background color behind the tiles.
Yeah, because if you just start with just the tile map, you can't put anything behind it.
Sorry, 1 minute. My daughter's asking me if she can play video games. Okay, so anyway, I'm going to add this, and I'm going to go to, I do need a tile map again, but I also want to add, this is what I wanted to add new, color rect. I know this node will just give me a colored rectangle that I'd like to put on the back. And right now it's white, which is like not great. Let me zoom in. Sorry.
There you go. Yeah. Yeah, the zoom in the game is so zoomed out because it's like it's actual pixel art. So we have 1 pixel, whatever.
Yeah. So I'm making yet another scene. Cool. My plan was to make a level. It was just blank, and I added the tile map. I should remember to add that resource. I'm gonna do the quick load method.
There you go.
Grab the resource. Okay, I'm ready to paint tiles. Let me just get one on the screen as a sample to make sure I do this right. It's behind. See, it's behind the white. So I've got to. This is the point I wanted to show. Is like I learned this.
This
some
seems
point
upside
ago,
down
where
to
if
me, right? Like
yeah,
like compared to like an image editor or something, usually like above on the screen means it's above the other stuff, but in Godot it feels upside down, right? Like
yeah. It's if anything in your so this scene tree is only for the scene that we're creating now. And then this tab over here. You can leave these up. It's just like having tabs on a browser. This scene. So yeah, when they have this collection of nodes, building blocks of a scene, yeah, you're right. Anything that's further down the list is
on like layered
in the
above or
foreground.
on top. Yeah, yeah. Again,
Yeah,
it
on
seems
top of,
upside
yeah.
down compared to like how I don't know, layers in an image editor usually works. It's like that tripped me up a lot of times too. It's like, why is this backwards?
So if I just trial and error, if I just click on this, I can relocate it in the scene tree.
Yeah.
And I can't replace the parent node, which is why I put that there, because I want this to be behind the tile map. See, now it's still there, but the tiles came through. Whereas if I have it down here, the tiles go away. So
they're behind.
I'm going to tuck it behind any tiles we do. And then I want to change the color, but this is what I was talking to you about earlier. I had taken a screenshot of the colors of a map I was making, a scene, level. And I took that screenshot right here. And let's see if I can go to. I loaded it into this website I like, Coolers, because it lets you. It's a color palette generator. There's others. You don't have to sign up. I'm signed in, but you don't have to, and you can just hit start the generator. And it's a cool website. You just hit spacebar over and over, and you get. I'm not necessarily very good at picking complementary colors. I'll be honest.
Yeah.
So this has been a big help for me because it gives you the color codes for like presentations or game making.
Nice.
And so, yeah, and you can rearrange them here to see how they look next to one another. You can add more colors that go well together. But in this case, what I did was there's this other cool feature where you can it's this button. Yeah. This camera button lets you load in a picture you took. This was from the computer, and then it tells you the color palette of the picture you took, and you can even focus and zoom around and see. And so unfortunately, the colors kind of are. There's not like a dynamic range here that go with that.
Yeah.
I can hit plus and get more options.
Oh, interesting. It just generates something that sort of fits in. Interesting.
Yeah, and so I guess I'll just pick. What do we have here? I wanted to change the color. Okay, so it's like that light. So I'll pick something a little darker and see if it works. So now that I have this color palette, I have to hit next and say, show me in the generator.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
And now I'm going to take, I'll take this one. So not super exciting, but I wanted to change the color.
Yeah.
Okay, so color rect is white. I can see that here in the inspector, but if I click on that, it's asking me if there's I could change it to whatever I want, but when we were talking, I was like, oh, Cassie, I don't want it to clash if we do.
Yeah.
Just some kind of hideous with it. So that's why I went on that little side quest there with the color picker. And now we have that as the background to go with this. And, if I didn't like it, if I thought it was too drab or something, I could try something else.
And it's only changing this in this new level that you've made, right?
Yes, because this node is only existing in this as yet unsaved scene.
Yeah.
It's not going to mess with the whole game. It's not connected to that.
Yeah. Nice.
So we'll go with that. I don't know if the guy will show up. We'll see. Okay.
Yeah, have to
anyway,
check the contrast.
I wanted to do one other thing. I wanted to change the music.
Right. Do you have a music file locally?
But
I forget.
Yes, okay. I do. But your question you just asked, so I'll make a generic level here just to get that going.
Yeah. Yeah, we gotta make sure
But
we
your
save it.
question the question you just asked, what if I put one really close to the top so like you do not have a lot of time to react? I tend to want to make the game really hard for some reason on people.
It's fun.
Like
It's
two
fun.
guys, and you're gonna fly from the top. You have no time to react, and there's a
You have
guy
to aim
waiting
it.
for you
Yeah.
here.
There you go. Oh jeez. Where are you gonna
Cruel.
start your player?
Well, I was making an assumption that you had to start on the left, but you do not.
I don't think so. I think you can start wherever.
So I'll give him a safe start.
There you go.
That's it, though. That's it. That's all you get for, yeah. And I love this idea of like making you have to sneak in under a roof for some reason. So I don't know why. Oops, that's too much. That's mean. I'll delete that one. Okay. So, before I run this though, yeah, I wanted to add music that was different. That was something we had talked about messing with.
Just for this level.
So anyway, if I go back to the game, again, I see audio here, but I only see audio for like a win-lose state. You know, like the sound effects for, I don't want to blow people's eardrums out, but these are sound effects for win and lose. They're not the song.
Yeah.
So down here in audio, in the files, I see the folder named audio. I see a soundtrack right here. But I don't know where that's being used. So one thing I can do is if I hit, what is it? Control Shift. Oh, I have to get into a script. Let me open a script. I clicked on this little scroll for the game script. I'm not sure it matters because what I'm going to do is search the whole game to see where that was used because I don't really understand where that was used. So Control Shift F. Right. And it's called ost.mp3. So where is that? And I want it to look everywhere in our resources. So I'm just going to leave this as the top folder. And then down here it says it's being used, it's being loaded. Oh, it brought me to it. That's cool.
Yeah, if you click it,
when I clicked on this down here,
yep.
Yeah, it brought me to this global script. I didn't even know where that was. There's a global, GD is short for GD script or any of the code files. And this brought me to global. So cool. So here's where it is. So Cassie, what I think's happened here is that the developer loaded this in with code.
Yeah.
The file.
Yeah, it looks like it because they're creating an audio stream player, adding the child. They're doing it all in code there. So they don't have a node in the scene or in there.
There's nothing here. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to do this for the first time. This is cool. So they made an audio stream node, put it in a variable, and then said to play it, autoplay it, or when the game starts. But I'd like to do it with a node just as a first time here. So I'm going to go away from the code. I do think that the music played throughout, right? When it was blasting your eardrums throughout
it starts
each
right
level,
at the beginning.
So, okay. Yeah. So this isn't something that I can do with this scene.
Right. We'd have to change.
It's going to play it everywhere. So.
Right. Yeah. We'd have to change a little bit. We'd have to write some code or something to say, pause that music and play this other music or something.
Yeah. I'm really regretting my color choices here. I'm going to save this though. I'd like to save this scene.
Yeah. Yeah. Good.
In
good
all
call.
its glory. Oh, wait, we get a bump. Okay, hold on. Let me cancel. Again, I don't want to wait forever. So scene 2 is going to get the bump. Rename to 20.
Yeah, just so you don't have to play through the whole game, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I could have just added it to the end, but I'm pushing the existing one down so that now there's this space between 1 and 3, and I can save this one as scene 2 between those. And I'm just guessing at the pattern. Like I didn't look at the code very closely, but I did it again. I saved it outside of that folder. Here we go.
I was going to say, but you can just drag and drop it.
But yeah, I'm guessing that I just like, if I don't know, I'm going to copy the format here just to ease the hiccups as I try to, as I hope it'll load my game. I'm like, well, why not just do their naming convention?
Yeah.
Here. So anyway, so, okay, I saved that. That's good. I can see it's saved as number 2 up here. These don't have to stay up here. I can close these out. It's just you getting a look at things that are saved down in the files. Yeah. So, but the game. So to add, I'm going to go to the plus button here, and I'm going to add a node to the overall game, not a color rect. I'm going to type audio, and I get this stream player, and this is going to let me play a soundtrack. I think I want the 2D one. I'm not sure actually, but I'm going to go.
I don't think since you're just doing soundtrack, you're not like panning it based on. So the idea of an audio stream player 2D is like if your character's making a sound and like the character runs off to the right side of the screen, it'll actually play it through like your right side of your speaker or through your like headphones.
Okay.
But for in this case, if it's just background music, I think just a stream player is fine.
All right. Good. I would have gone with the more complicated one. Okay, so here's a new node. I don't believe it has to be. It can just be a child node of the overall game node. So let's see, it's connected just to that. It doesn't have to be attached to anything, I don't think, because I'd like the music to autoplay. So I don't need code to tell it to play. I'm going to make this simple and just say play this from the beginning. So over here in the inspector, I have no song. So I got to fix that. Let me. Aha, here it is, Laser Groove. Got it ready because I knew I wanted to add my own music. This is from creator Kevin MacLeod. It's he has a website called Incompetech where he offers up a good amount of like royalty-free, open source, copyright-free music. So
nice.
Okay, but I don't want to throw it wherever. I keep doing that. I'm going to click on audio because I notice if I click on the folder and then I drag this, it will go there. If I don't, it'll drop it in the big folder.
Oh, whatever was
selected
before.
Yes.
I don't think I realized that's what was happening because I've wondered that too. I'm like, I thought I dragged it to the right place. That makes sense.
Yeah. I tried to hover over audio, but I have to actually click on it first.
Click audio.
Laser Groove is there.
Interesting. Yep.
I hope this isn't too loud. I'm going to do your click and drag method, the visual method.
Okay.
Out. When you have a file, like this kind of audio stream player is ready for like some kind of file, not a picture in this case, but or a resource, but a song. So I'm going to bring the MP3 and drop it there.
Yeah, there you go.
And let's play it. Can you hear it?
Oh yeah, we can hear it. Turned it down.
Is it too
loud?
It down
a bit. It's fine. I turned it down a little bit. I'm sitting here on the volume knob. And I was like, I'm ready.
All right, so now the trick here is to do it without code, without getting too fancy with it, just to give a new soundtrack. I'm going to have it autoplay when the game starts.
Yeah.
So that was right here. I think that'll do what we need. So let me try to run the game.
Yeah, since it's in the scene already, because you don't have to add it to the scene because you added that visually. Yep, let's try it.
Okay. And then what do I do? I've added a new level, right? So there's 2 new levels, one with...
You're also going to have... it's going to be playing the old music, right? We didn't do anything about the old music. Right? So let's do...
That's a good point.
Let's do that real quick.
Yeah.
We can use that comment thing that you talked about. So if you go back to... Where did we find where that was used?
It was in global script. It was in global.
There you go.
Here it is.
So what you can do is you can just highlight those lines, like lines 13 through 18. Or 14 through 18, whatever. And can you... I forget if Godot has this. If you right-click it, is there something that says comment? There should be a keyboard shortcut for it too. But oh yeah, look at that, toggle comment. So you can just do that.
Okay, I did not know. You're teaching me now. I did not know this. Okay.
It's super nice. So it is or Control K. So it'll keep the code there.
All of them.
Yeah. And so it toggles it. So you can say like, hey, I want to temporarily get rid of this code, but I don't want, like, I want to keep it there in case I want to re-enable it later. So it's really handy. Yes. So it's funny. It's like commenting code. Like comments are good for literally commenting, saying like what this code does, but you can also use it to like temporarily erase the code. It's like,
yes. Yeah. Because I wouldn't have known how to, off the top of my head, I would have forgotten. What I would have done had you not just said that is probably just highlighted and hit backspace.
Just deleted it. Yeah. Which is like, again, you could do that too. Since you're using Git, you have a history and everything. But like in this case, it's really nice to be like, okay, I don't know if I want to commit to getting rid of this. Let's just comment it out for now. Yeah. Super handy.
So what's cool about this, okay, so we didn't need to know any code or scripting to do this, but we did need to figure out using Godot how to find the existing music, because the developer did not do it with this kind of node. Instead, well, no, they did, but they wrote it in code.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And I did look.
So
If you go to that search, I'm pointing at the screen as if you can see where I'm pointing on my screen. If you go to the search in that tab under, so towards the top,
oh, here?
the like file edit search, yeah, there should be a find in files. Yeah, that's where your Control Shift F came from. So I was looking at that earlier.
Oh, there
So
it is.
so that means like find in all the files, because if you just do Control
Yep.
F or find right there, it's going to find it in the current file. But if you say find in files, it'll search your whole project, which is really
Cool.
handy for that sort of thing.
That's awesome. Okay. I've got my audio stream. I've got my not. Oh, see, this is something that throws people off at the beginning too. They go to click on a new scene and they're like, "Why am I still looking at this script?"
Yeah.
So there's a lot on the screen, and up here there's these tabs, and
Mm-hmm.
if you only ever want to see the scripts in the game, and you're finding them in the files, and these are like your recent scripts that you've looked at, fine. But if you want to get back to a visual 2D thing, which is what we're making, you have to click 2D here.
Mm-hmm.
There's my level. Sometimes people get lost, or they delete this and then they go, "Oh no, did I delete my level?" No, it's down here. You just got to double click it and zoom way in.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna run this. I'll try to go fast. Do you want to turn me down?
I got you.
Yes, new music.
Nice. I think you made this a little hard. Oh my god. How did you do that? How did you do that? Oh, it's still playing. Hit stop in your yeah, so the game crashed. What happened?
It didn't like that this was a node.
Ah, interesting.
A node 2D.
Oh, because it was trying to load that. Yeah. Okay. So it could be something. That's maybe something we have to look at more as we prepare people to contribute their own levels and stuff.
So I have a thought. I have a cheesy way to do this. I don't know if this is the best way. So like, I don't think you can. So this scene, I don't think I can take this and make it the parent. I can reparent it to a new node, but I can make it the scene root. But if I do that, I think what will happen is visually.
Yeah,
it'll go behind again. So what if I just called this a tile map node? Didn't do anything with it.
You could try it. I don't know if that'll work.
Change type. So I don't know if this is gonna work. I'm gonna try to call this a tile map because maybe that's what the code is looking for.
Yeah.
I'm gonna rename it tile map. This is confusing. And then I have my actual tile map here, which is the one I care about, and it's behind. I didn't do anything with this. Will that work?
You can see.
Well, let's find out. It worked. No, it didn't.
But yeah, now it's not interactive, huh?
There's something happening.
Oh. Interesting.
Okay,
That's well, that's part of why we're having fun with it, right?
I love it. We would have to figure out a new way.
Yeah.
To have this be, I'm just going to delete that. To have this be a tile map.
Or what we might do is you could maybe, this probably require code. You could change however that background color is being set for the game itself. Like you could possibly programmatically change that when the level's loaded or something. Yeah, there's a few different ways you could do it. But I think this is definitely in the realm of like the sort of improvements we could make to the game itself to make it easier for other people to make different games, right? Like right now, it kind of assumes the background is always this color. So if somebody comes in and is like, well, I want to make a game that has a different background color, or I want a night, a level where it's dark and it's night or something, like, then we'll have to add features to the game itself to support that.
Yep. And what I would probably do next, what would I do next? I'd probably go and try to figure out where the background is loaded and how that's been decided.
Yeah, because I think that's in your like project settings or something. I'm not sure. The very
well, do you know how we commented out the previous song? I
Yeah.
guess I would probably go digging and try to figure out how to like basically do the same thing, but to the background color. Because I don't know where that was done. Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah, I think it might be in the project
Cool though.
settings of just like the default background because it's just like there's nothing there, so it's just that color.
We did get my soundtrack in,
But we
which
did
I'm
get your
happy
sound.
about.
Yeah, that's good. Can go back and look at our.
Yeah, I don't even see background as it's not a PNG, I don't think.
No, I think it's probably just a color set. If you go into like your menu at the very top, project, and then project settings, my guess is it's just in here. Display window, maybe.
Yeah. You mean it's just like an overall
It could just
global
be a
setting?
property of the whole project.
Yeah, could be.
But yeah, it's
I
hard
don't
to know
know.
without digging in more. I'm curious.
That's good though. That's a good problem for the next
Yeah,
time.
yeah,
So when we
exactly.
come back, we added a new scene. It was a new level. We pushed an existing level away so that we could test our new level. It was okay. Could have made it better. We added music to a second scene, which we only got to see actually play for a brief second because I broke the game because I tried to add a custom background in a kind of like a messy way where
Yeah.
I don't fully understand how it needs a tile map to load the next level. But that's a fun sort of, to me, that's interesting because like that's the thing I'm going to figure out off
Yeah.
camera now. And
Yeah.
then the next time we do a stream, we can talk about that before we move on.
Yeah, and that's even a place where we could improve. Like I said, you improve the game itself, the root game that we're forking off of.
Yeah.
You know, it makes sense to say, okay, maybe you can load any scene, not just a tile map, and then maybe you search. But like that's all deep in the code side of things. So yeah,
Cool.
it's fun. It's fun to see how this stuff works. But
wait a minute. Okay, so I have a question for you, Cassidy.
sure.
So now what I would like to do is I would like to add the audio stream player to my testing branch, but I want to give up on the second scene, which never worked.
Did you ever add the second scene? We never added it, did we?
I did save it to the working files. I never added it to Git repositories.
Yeah. So this is where
but I also haven't added the song.
Yeah. Okay. So if we do Git status again, that's kind of my go-to. I have always like Git status. What does Git know about? So it shows here. Okay, you've modified the game scene. That's because we added the audio stream player into there. We modified the global script because we commented
the old song.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
this
then,
is what we don't want.
Right. Well, yeah, that's good. It's yes, because we modify. It says modified to because it doesn't know the difference between. It's like, well, this file is called 2.tscn. We renamed the old 2 to 22 or 23 or whatever.
23 here.
Yeah. And so it's a weird thing in Git. Git is like, it's kind of dumb and smart at the same time. Like when you do a Git status, it's just like, well, you modified the file called 2. It just happens to be that the contents are completely different now. And you also added this brand new file I've never heard of called 23, which is actually the old 2. The cool thing about Git is like if you added both of those, if you said git add tilemap2.tscn, tilemap23.tscn, it will actually look at the contents and go, oh, actually that one was renamed, and it'll figure that out.
Okay.
But we don't want to do that, so it's fine. We can just say we just want to add the audio file.
Yeah, so git add. So what I do is instead of saying git add and just putting a dot, do I copy this?
Yep, or you can type it and hit tab. You can start typing it and hit tab to tab complete it, which is also nice. So if you say scene / and if you just hit tab, it should, because there's only one thing that's valid there.
I get it. Yep.
So you can just say scene, and you can just add multiple files in a row after that. You don't have to hit git add every time.
Do I need to push a comma or what do I?
Nope, just a space in between them. This is where your quotes, like if you have, if there's a space in the file name, it'll actually automatically should put it in quotes, or it'll do a thing with a backslash that's called escaping. But basically,
this is cool. So audio / laser groove.
Yeah, see, it has those weird backslashes in there. That's because like it's doing it for you. That's why tab complete's really nice, is you don't have to like think about all that stuff. Here you could
also has one that's called import. Do I need that?
Yes. Another thing you can do if you want to add a whole folder. So if you actually backspace all the way just to the word audio, you can actually just say
Okay.
audio because you're saying anything that's changed under the audio folder. That's similar to doing your dot for your whole project, but you're saying anything under the
Okay, so I
audio
just type
folder.
that.
Yeah.
Got it.
And then you should be good because we're not adding the tile map stuff.
Sweet.
And it's doing the weird CRLF thing, but it should be good. And now if you get status,
Other than that weird CRLF settings thing,
yeah,
that it didn't give an error, it didn't flag anything, it let us add. That's cool. I didn't know you could just type the beginning without the slash or anything, and it would just go, okay, so anything starting with that, add all that.
yeah, because it's a folder, so it's saying anything in that folder. Now, if it was like you couldn't just type git add AUD, it would be like I don't know what that is. So it has to be like the full name of the folder, and it'll include anything in that folder.
Got it. Added a new soundtrack to the game, and I'm not going to talk about the other level.
Yeah, because we didn't
because it
we didn't
didn't
add
work
it.
out.
Yeah.
Tried to do this and broke the
Yeah.
game. Okay. Hey, do you think that breaking the game's pretty common when doing this?
Oh, for sure. Like that's why there's a button to play it right there. Like you don't have to wait. It's just like,
It's
well,
like
let's just try it out, and then it's I broke it. Well, how did it break? And you figure it
I'm
out.
trying to
Super
remember when
common.
I first started messing around with other cool stuff like this. Like I maybe first was like, "Oh no, I broke it." Now I do not care at all. It's just like part of the game.
Just like, yep, it happened. That's fine.
Oh, I got an error though. Here we go. Git commit added a new. Oh, I didn't push. I know what I did.
You didn't put an end quote.
I didn't
maybe?
put -m for
Oh,
message.
yes, that's right.
I was talking and trying to multitask and doing it poorly. Okay.
And this is also where
Sweet.
you could just hit the up arrow, and it'll come up with your full command from before, and so then you can just go change that. But you can also retype it.
All right, so now I'm on testing.
Yep.
Now, if I go we suggested this before. Don't leave this open when you do this. I want to switch to the main and just point that out. So right now we have, what's the easiest way to tell? Laser Groove here is in the soundtrack of my testing branch. So I close this. Why is it asking me to save? Yes. Okay. And then I open Godot. No. Wait, don't open Godot yet. I go here.
So you wanted to change.
Can you still see?
Yep.
Yeah. Git switch. I want to switch back to main.
So there's a little weird thing here though now, and it's complaining about it there too. It's saying, hey, there's like something changed with tile map 2, and if you do git status right now, it'll still have your changes, because those changes that weren't ever committed are still
that I didn't want. Yeah.
In your on your computer.
Okay, let me go back. Git switch testing. What happens if I forget the name of my own branch?
You can just type git branch, I think, and then it'll give you a list or branch.
There it is.
Yep.
Testing. It tells me I'm on main by putting it in green, and then the other branch, the only other one we made is testing, and I have to do git switch testing. Okay, so how do I just say goodbye to that? Git restore.
Yeah, it's hard. There's like a million ways. You could literally delete the file, although you've modified. Yes, you've modified to. So yeah, you have to tell git to restore it. So you could. There's what's the best way? Probably
this is gonna happen a lot where I make 5 changes. I only like 3. Yeah.
So one really easy way, and maybe I use it too much. There's something called git stash, which basically says take my changes and just stash them away off to the side, and I may or may not ever get back to them. That's probably what I would do, since it's changes that haven't been added or committed. So if you just say git stash, it'll say okay, stash your stuff.
Guess it's that warning. That warning that doesn't matter.
And now if you do git status though. Yeah. Yeah, and so it's saying, hey, it stashed your changes to the level 2 file, and it's saying, hey, we see that there are changes to this file, but we're not tracking them in your Git project, so which is fine. Cool. So now you can switch over.
Pushes them to the side.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can I ask a question? Is that bad? Is there going to be a million? How would I eventually go back and go, hey, all that stuff I stashed, just let it go?
If you hit, I forget what the command is. If you do git stash because I know you can pop stuff off the stash. It's like I think it's literally get stash pop.
Yeah.
Get stash drop is how you.
Get stash. I want to say goodbye to it.
Yeah. So I'm reading the help
Cool.
right now, and it's get get stash drop will. Where'd it go?
Okay.
Hold on.
So
I want to make
now-
sure that's the right thing. Remove a single stash entry from the list of stash entries. Oh, so that's if you want to. You can say get stash clear, which removes all the stash entries.
So that probably worked for me because I only had one entry. But if I had a bunch of stuff, I could do this.
Yeah, and it will drop all of your stashed changes.
Okay, got it.
So we do still.
That's cool
It is
to know.
still weird that we have that tile map 23. So I would still just delete that file, which you can do. You could either do when you open up Godot, you could delete it from like the little file menu.
Oh, okay.
Or you could delete it in your folder on your computer. Or if you know the command line, you can do what's called RM, which is remove. But I'm always hesitant to tell people to delete files from the command line because it's easy to delete the wrong thing.
Do I have to do it now before? Will it let me go back to main?
No, yeah, you can go back to main. That file will exist in your in the file system, but it just isn't added to Git, so it's fine.
Right, and Git's just warning me that thing's hanging out.
It's just like, hey, this file's there, but if you never add it, it'll never add it to your project. But it will be like when you open Godot, it'll be there. That's a weird thing.
Yeah. So, but otherwise, other than that weird file hanging out, if I open Candy Wrapper, it keeps jumping to the other screen. Sorry. That all that work I did, the audio stream, that's all gone. I think. Yeah. No audio stream player. That was my visual test to just see like, wait, which branch? Oh yeah, I really am back on the main.
Yep. But you will see
isn't here.
If you scroll down, your scene 23 is there.
Yes.
Yeah. So
I'm going to delete that here.
Exactly. You can just delete it here. That's what I was going to say.
Yeah. Okay. I hear you. Warning
that way you're
can't
just
be undone. That's okay. It was not a great level. And then I'm going to do this once. I know it's not the way we're supposed to do it, but I'm just going to show this again just so you can see when I switch to mine. Oh, you're supposed to close it first. I've heard that from many people, but I just want to see the difference. So git switch to my testing branch. And then this thing yells at me like, okay, you're switching.
Saying, you changed stuff out from under me. Yeah.
So I'm going to discard the local changes and reload the game.
Mm-hmm. Which is going to
and there we
go.
go.
Every change. Yeah. Yep.
Okay. So that happened to work, but
it's like,
have done it because
you can do it if you are very careful, but it's really easy to hit the wrong button there. And then you've messed stuff up and it's harder to recover from.
Yep. So as a very good general rule, you want to switch and you're not trying to show off that you're switching here and doing it like I just did or something. You just close this down, switch, open Godot. It takes 2 seconds to open. It's not a big deal.
Exactly. Yeah.
Cool. Awesome.
Cool. That was
I think that's everything we wanted to do.
Yeah. Let's go back here. Clone a game, make a test branch, make a new level and fancier changes like the audio background. So you'll notice we didn't end up pushing these changes, and that's kind of intentional because we didn't start out by making a fork, and we didn't want to get too into the weeds with the Git stuff there. So that would be one thing we might do differently is like the first step could be that if you make a fork of the project, then you can push it to your own branch or to your own fork, and it's fine. If you want to like back up your changes, if you're like, hey, I want to get to this later on another computer, or if my computer blows up, whatever. Whereas right now we're just kind of leaving it's in a branch, but it's only on your local computer, which is fine again for this.
But I mean, we're doing right now. If I had done something pretty cool that I wanted to show off there, I'm only a few commands away from sharing it with.
Exactly. Yeah. And it depends on if you have permissions on the repo that you cloned, then you could just push that branch, which like you probably do because you're on the organization or whatever. But if you're just a random person, like you can't just push code to somebody else's thing. You have to push it to your own fork of it. And then you can do a pull request to say, hey, I want to merge these in. But a little outside the scope of this video. But yeah.
That actually makes me feel good that I don't want to do that. If I'm just playing around until I get a good idea. I mean, if I really wanted to show it in a quick way, I could just take a screenshot and be like, check out this new level. Hey, do you think, and somebody could be like, oh, hey, that's really cool. Why don't you go ahead and make a branch and push that to it so we can see that and look at it.
Yeah. And that's where you could go in and you can set setting it upstream in Git, and again, it seems confusing. It's only a couple of commands, but it's probably something we'll need to cover at some point. But
For sure, because the other thing is, like, okay, so let's say I'm working with someone that that knows way more about Godot and code than I do, and they're you know they're doing this, watching me try to add that background, and they know exactly why
yeah,
instantly that wasn't going to work. Um, that person might say, well, why don't you make it a branch,
yeah, and they can
push
comment
it
on
up to
it, and
GitHub so
yeah.
that I can get a link
hmm
and I can actually get in to see what you've done wrong. Don't just send screenshots. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's really nice to share kind of by default, share your code, even works in progress, whatever, share it openly. Because it's a learning opportunity for other people. It makes it easier for people to help you out.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll have to
So I
maybe
had to
maybe
say,
that'll be the next stream will be like, actually, okay, let's start by forking the project, and we can actually push our changes up and see how like a pull request works or something. That'd be a good one next
but
time.
hopefully the problem is a new one, because that one now I have to solve. I have to
Yeah,
like
yeah,
figure that out on my own.
yeah, for
I
sure.
love
Maybe
mini
we'll.
challenges like that, little things like that. Because like if I that would be something I would really want to do to this game, is I would want to play with the aesthetics. That's
Mhm.
something where I don't know about you, but when I first get something just creatively, my brain goes to audio stuff. Like I want to change the sound effects, the music,
Mhm.
and aesthetics. So sort of like reskinning things first before
Yeah.
I necessarily change mechanics. But not everyone, it depends on how you feel towards like modding games. I don't know, but what do you think?
Yeah, I think that's an easy like starting point, because you can also just usually you can just stay completely out of the code when you mod
Yes,
the
that's true.
resources. Because you can even just like kind of like you did at the level there, where you can just say, okay, I'm going to rename this old audio file, and I'm going to put my new audio file in the same place with the same name. Like that's the simplest way to like mod it to replace an audio file. And you do the same thing with a tile map or a sprite, is like you can just literally put in the file with the same name and change it without touching any code, which is nice. Um,
Yeah, you can actually do I mean, that's the whole idea with the game engine, right? It's this
mhm.
multi-purpose tool that doesn't require you to do everything in the editor. Although obviously things can get a lot more powerful, and you can do a lot more
Yeah,
once you start leaning into that. But you we could do a lot more sessions and continue to mod this game without really doing too much new code
yeah,
or anything like
exactly.
that.
You can change. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's scaling, and I think that's one of the things I modded just on one of our earlier streams, like made the guy way bigger or whatever. It's like you can change all those
Oh yeah.
things in the inspector without touching a line of code. And then when it gets interesting is like you can hook up code to say dynamically change those things. But you
Yeah.
can definitely just like start out by changing them in the inspector.
One thing we could do next time, we could even get into it, is you might be thinking like, well, if you have to use pre-existing stuff that's already in the game, then there isn't going to be anything new that's like dynamic or in motion. But Godot has an animation panel, a whole
Yeah,
animation
yeah,
animator. So again, without code, we could maybe in a future stream we could talk about like, oh, how do you make the platform move? How do you make a platform and then make it move around and stuff? You must have to know code. Not necessarily.
right.
You can do more control with code, but you can do a lot with the nodes and the animation player. Yeah.
Yeah,
Cool.
for sure. Thanks for hanging out and doing the stream. Thanks for
Yeah,
everybody
thanks for
joining.
putting me on the spot. How
Yeah,
did
no
I
problem.
the get stuff was okay, right? I did okay.
Yeah, I think so. It's
You're like, yeah.
I mean, neither of us really knew what we were getting ourselves into with it. We were like, well, let's
Yeah,
just try
that's
this
true.
thing. So, but I think it worked out okay. It was fun to play
I wish
around
it
and
didn't give
show.
I'd love to get rid of those those warnings that it's giving that make it
Yeah,
look more complicated than it actually is. It's like this list of warnings about something, and I'm like,
there's
the
probably
CRLF.
yeah, it's that setting and Git to say that line endings, which that's maybe something we can put in the README of the project and say, hey, or maybe we can just do a one-time thing that fixes it. I'm not sure. I'll talk to the other techie people
Cool.
and see if we can fix that up. But yeah, this was good.
Thanks, Cassidy.
And we'll see everybody on the next stream.
Yeah, see you soon.
Bye.
Bye.